Hey everybody, it is Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
This episode made me feel things
And you're
like
watching
sadness.
episode 153 of the Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast, and we're talking about two more episodes today. Victoria, where are they?
They are next to album 62,
5.
65. That sounds right. I said 62 and I was like, that doesn't sound right in any way at all. 65 episodes, which are The Toy
Mm-hmm.
and The Good in People.
Yes. I like both of these episodes
Oh
substantially more than
boy,
the last two.
these two episodes.
So,
There
852.
were two plots in this episode in The Toy. I can only remember what one of them was.
It was the girl volunteering at Wit's End.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 852, The Toy, written by Phil Lawler. Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
So this episode starts off with Pull House, and he's talking to Dr. Graham, and he's talking to her about how there was a 5-year-old boy, five?
Yeah.
5-year-old? Yeah, who passed away recently because of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But it might have been something that didn't have to do with the cancer that caused him to pass away, so we're like trying to figure out what was going on.
Well, no. That's what
after.
Lily assumes.
Okay.
Pull House never says that.
Okay. Anyway, then Lily shows Pull House this toy that the kid had. It was was it a rabbit?
Well, she didn't show him. He had it in an evidence bag already.
Oh, okay.
He was like, where did this come from?
Was it a rabbit?
Yes.
Okay, it was a rabbit and it had a vest on, and it's called Eugene Bunny, which is like the best name.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what Wooten called it.
Yeah. But it's funny because my brain maybe it's because I listened to so many episodes in a row, because I listened to all 4 of these consecutively, and I haven't listened to that many consecutive Odyssey episodes in a while.
Uh-huh.
And my brain was so used to listening and watching things that aren't Odyssey that when I heard Eugene Rabbit and Vest, my brain was like, huh, that's funny. That's kind of like Eugene from that one series. And Witten's like, yeah, it's because it's like Eugene. I'm like, oh, it's the same series. I'm tired. I'm tired today.
Oh, Victoria.
I'm just having one of those days.
Uh-huh.
I'm very tired and my head hurts and I want to sleep and I haven't slept. I've been listening to Odyssey to prepare for a recording.
Oh, poor you.
I'm very tired. But
So,
yeah, he goes on this hunt for who's responsible for this dang rabbit. And he goes through literally everyone. He goes from the hospital to Wooten, who brought the toys to the hospital, to Whit, because he did a toy fund for the hospital, and he asked Wooten to carry the toys, and he got the toy from J&J Antiques. NJ, so many J's, and because Jason found it in a drawer of a cabinet,
drafting desk.
Yeah, in a cabinet, and that cabinet was donated by the Washingtons. It's the second Washington we've got to hear from ever since the hiatus. I'm hoping we get to hear from the other 3 and also possibly Xavier too.
Yeah.
Because I need me some Tamika and especially some Kelly. And
there's also Antoine, technically. I mean, he's never appeared on the show.
Antoine doesn't count. He's still at college.
He's still
He's
there.
forever at college. And what's their
He's
mom's
like Eugene.
name?
Elaine.
Yeah, thank you. We got to see Ed.
I didn't think he was actually going to show up.
I didn't either. It's the same voice. I got so excited.
His voice was just, such sweet honey.
They mentioned Ed, and I was just like, oh. And then he showed up, and I got and he's like in more than one scene.
I know.
And
Okay,
he has a bunch of lines, and he's talking about how he used to make toys before he did Wit's End, and there's so many references to the Toy Man.
I know.
And like that means he's still running Wit's End in Connollsville. So
just like that one time that they mentioned.
All the time you've mentioned, all those times Wit's gone to Connollsville since the reboot, never mentioned the Washingtons. What is this? It's like Hand Up all over
That's
again.
exactly what I was gonna say. Yes, where it's like this. Is this worse than if you hadn't mentioned it, acknowledging that it still exists?
I don't
Did you raise
care.
more questions now?
Happy came back.
Okay, and the other plot.
The other plot is there's this girl.
Oh wait, what was the story? What was the resolution of that plot, Victoria?
We'll get to that when we
Okay.
get to it. I'll cry if I talk about
All right.
it. Anyway, there's this girl whose name I had to look up because I just couldn't pick up on what they were
Luella,
saying every
that's what it was.
single time. No, like her nickname.
Oh, Lou.
And she was cleaning Wit's End as like a volunteer thing, and she did.
But she did it really
Connie
well.
was like, "Oh man, she's so much better at me than everything. I need to clean things good too."
She literally dragged Connie for filth.
Yeah. And I really liked her. I liked this episode. It was good. It was emotional. Every single story beat was just like, oh man.
I can really appreciate what was
everything in this episode.
What was said to us about this episode, how it sounded like it should be a club episode, because the house that Luella was from, the place where she was, they kept mentioning it by name over and over and over, like they do in club episodes when they're trying to drive home. Like, this is a real charity. Remember?
I got really confused, actually. I didn't really think about the fact that it wasn't a club episode until right now, even though, of course, it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to them one after another in my iTunes and stuff, but...
I gotcha. Yeah, it was weird how they're like,
yeah,
this place, they say the name over and over. So I don't know if it's real or not.
And Connie's like, "You're cleaning too good. You're making me look bad." And she's like, "I'm doing it for God." And Connie's like, "Oh, no."
It's like, well, dang.
And I was just like, "Oh, can you be in every episode? I love you."
So the episode... Oh, sorry.
It was so good.
So the episode starts out... Immediately, it's like...
Also, but at the end of the episode, I was thinking people are going to be screaming, "Full House, this is why your wife left you." Because you just... No, because he doesn't explain things better ahead of time.
Well, that was the point.
He made it sound like he was going to arrest like 6 people in this episode when he just wanted to have like a heart-to-heart with them. Why couldn't he have been like, "Oh yeah, it's not anything bad. I just need to talk to you"?
Because he was doing it on purpose. He literally came out and he was like, "You are all responsible for, or all involved in the death of a 5-year-old child."
Pranked ya, and then he like blew some air horns, and I was like, "What is wrong with you?"
Justin Timberlake,
and then he started crying,
was,
and I was like, "Oh no, a lot of things are wrong with you."
He just starts weeping uncontrollably. Okay, no, so
weeping uncontrollably while honking an air horn. Like, "Oh, I pranked you."
We start out with Full House.
The worst joke I've ever made on this show.
We started with Full House and Lily Graham, and I was like, this is such a treat already, starting an episode with these two. Both of them is so great.
I was like, I didn't think this episode would be a mystery crime investigation. I got really excited.
And he was like, "Put the bunny back in the box." He's like, "I'm investigating this rabbit. Where did it come from? I have secrets about this rabbit and its origins I need to figure out." And I was like, please tell me that the rabbit is full of weed. Please.
The rabbit was full of drugs. Why do you think Eugene wears so many vests? He's a druggie. It's like caffeine patches, but a vest.
It's just contact. He just wears it like bare-chested vest, like Aladdin. And it's just all caffeine patches on the inside.
That's why Aladdin has no nipples. He uses too many drugs, so they
and his nipples fell off. Yeah, that'll happen. So yeah, I was super suspicious of how cagey Full House was being. It's funny.
Acting weird. He's never acted like this before. When Full House showed up, I was like, I don't know what to call it. I'm gonna call it the Richard Maxwell effect. I was like, oh, this must be the episode that Buck is in this album, and he's gonna blame this on Buck somehow.
I was like, it feels like a vaguely more high stakes reboot of Lamb's Tale. I was like, I still feel. Honestly. Which is funny because it's so much a Lamb's Tale that they even brought the Washingtons back for it. So much so.
It'd be like one of the last episodes that the Washingtons was... Actually, it wouldn't have been one of their first. They were already like highly established at that point. Never mind.
Yes. I was like, I still feel like this is going to end up being something innocuous in the end. Like the bunny used to be Full House's and he just wants to know how it ended up in the hospital kind of thing.
This is my rabbit. This 5-year-old stole it from me. All of you are party to crime. You're going to jail.
That would be great if it turned out like it was innocuous. Like, oh, I was just trying to figure out who stole this bunny from me. But then he does arrest all of them for capital theft.
Like he just put it on his desk and then in his office, and someone just took it off his desk.
I actually wrote right at the beginning, man, Whit is dragging Connie for filth over here. So I actually came up with it before I even knew how precisely accurate it would be. But yeah, Whit really was dragging Connie at the beginning. When he's like, wow, she works so well, she's enthusiastic, she showed up on time, and Connie's like, okay, Whit.
I was like, geez, Whit. And I was like, she's the manager. You can't talk to her that way. She can fire you. She's the manager.
By the time Full House talked to Wooten, I was like, is this going to be a surprise party at the police station? Because he talked to Lily and then he talked to Wooten, and by the second person, I was like, we have now 2 people where he asked them to be there at the exact same time. He didn't
surprise! This child's dead. Happy birthday!
I was like, the fact...
You know what that's like? That's like Jake Kool-Aid's in the new Taz episode. Where it's just like, oh, we want to cheer him up. Let's show him this dead body.
Hey man, I noticed you've been a little down lately. I thought we could cheer you up by taking you to the scene of a recently deceased man. I almost cackled out loud when I heard that.
I was laughing pretty hard. I'm so happy that he's in more episodes and they're like forcing him to be involved. Him and Aubrey are best friends, and it is the best thing ever. They've come so far.
But yeah, the fact that Full House asked 2 people to be there at the same time and didn't space it out, I was like, I guess I could see oh, he won't know until then whom he wants to interrogate first. Or to whom he wants to interrogate first. So that could make sense. You all show up and then I have my pick to figure out how to put the story in order. But I was like, that seems unlikely.
He holds up the rabbit and he gets them to line up and he points and he's like, okay, rabbit, which one of them? Which one of them did it?
He's like, you're all gonna sing the first line of... What song was it now? It just floated in my mind. From the Brooklyn Nine-Nine cold open from last season.
I know what you're talking about.
It was I Want It My Way, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me why. That's the man that killed my brother. Oh, right, I forgot about that.
Link that in the description.
Like that. It's so good. I've watched it at least 15 times.
Oh, it's so funny.
Before I even saw the episode.
Yeah.
Because I was really behind on
the
show.
He asked 2 people to come at the same time. I was like, that's suspicious. This is going to be a party. And then everyone subsequently...
And then he starts crying. It's not a party.
But I was right. And then every subsequent person, he kept on saying 4 o'clock. I was like, oh man, I was actually right about this.
Can you imagine? I never noticed that. Could you imagine Wooten though brings something and he's like, I heard other people are coming at this time. This is a party, isn't it? He brings a cake. And then it's that scene from Community where the guy opens the door with the pizza and everything's on fire. And Wooten's just like, oh no.
Speaking of funny things, I really liked how Whit to Jason, he's like, my son, Jason, and Full House would be like, oh yeah, the stiletto, known wanted gangster and crime boss, caused me to lose 20 years off of my waning lifespan. I remember him.
Wait, did he say that?
No. But
why didn't he?
Whit said, my son, Jason, you remember him? You remember? I was that's what I was like. That's what I wanted Full House to say.
No, I don't. Please enlighten me. And he pulls out a chair. He sits backwards on it. He like props up his hands.
Yeah, I remember, Jason. I have 18 stress ulcers I named after him because he caused them.
And some of them are named after lines he had with this voice. Some are the original voice. You never know.
So, Ed and holy moly, Whit's End Connollsville. You cannot drop that on us after a literal decade. Like, it's reasonable that we haven't heard hide nor hair of Whit's End Sister
Who wrote
Branch
this episode?
in the next town over, Phil, for 11,
how dare you, Phil? I have feelings.
11 years. But I don't care because he showed up in person, which I didn't expect, and his voice sounded so sweet to me. I was like, I'm so happy. Oh, so
sweet,
good.
Beautiful man. What did I write? I wrote something.
You just wrote Ed, I think.
No, I wrote something else. I wrote...
Ed, my beautiful boy.
Ed, my beautiful boy. All capitals.
Yeah.
I also almost put, like, look at this beautiful man, like, 50 times in a row, but then I didn't.
So I was like, I guess this means... Because he was like, Ed, I need you to come back to Odyssey. And I was like, all the way to Odyssey and stuff like that. So I'm like, I guess...
At first I thought he meant, like, move back to Odyssey, and I got really excited.
Yeah, so...
I was like, yes!
I was like, I guess this means the Washingtons simply moved the rest of the way to Connollsville during the hiatus, and that's why we haven't heard from them since, apart from Marvin last year in Unfair Game. So that
could be it. They probably still live in the same place, and they just... No, they just spend all their time in Connollsville.
He made it sound like it was inconvenient for him to come after work to Odyssey, meaning that he wouldn't have...
Full House might not know that Ed lives in
Odyssey.
No,
I mean, Ed sounded like it was surprising or inconveniencing for him to come to Odyssey, which would mean he wouldn't normally have gone to Odyssey, so they don't live there anymore.
They're not allowed to move out of the McAllister house. That house is too cool.
It is so cool, and I want it so bad. But
unless Lester finally kicked him out. That could be...
It could have been it.
What happened.
But that explains why we haven't heard from him, because they moved to Connollsville.
Lester was finally like, okay, guys, get out of my house. 5-year lease. And they're like, what do you mean 5-year lease? He's like, I gave you 5 years to find a new place, and you didn't get out of my house.
Yeah, and now they live in Whit's End Connollsville. Just like Jason
Just like
did.
Jason, yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible. Someone else has done it.
You know what?
Except for there's like 5 of them. Plus, if Xavier comes back, that's 6. Not Antoine, though. He's still at college.
Forget Ed Washington. My favorite part of this episode was Full House.
I can never forget that beautiful
Full House
man.
At the end, he was like, when he was being all dramatic and serious, and like, you guys were involved in the death of a 5-year-old child, and he holds up the rabbit, and he's like, this toy, and I was like, please say this toy was infected with love. Please say this toy was infected with love. And he's like, this toy was infected with love. And I was like, yes! Yes!
You actually predicted he would...
Word for word. I was like, please say this toy was infected with love. And that's what he said word for word. I was like...
Oh my gosh. Did you dab?
I did not on the bus.
Why not?
I was so excited. I was like, ah!
How funny that would be if you're just like, it's been a long day. You're at work. It's kind of raining.
It was before
You're all wet. You're just going home. You turn your head to the back of the bus, and then you just see someone go, yes, and then dab on the bus while they have a computer on their lap, and they'd be like...
They just go back to typing.
Yeah. And they'd be like, I want to get off the bus, please. And they would like pull the thing.
And that person was me.
That person was me. I'm in Vancouver.
Surprise! Come back early. I better clean.
Wait, is it messy there?
Well, I need to like vacuum and stuff, you know.
So I can get the entire place dirty with my hair falling out.
Yeah. Your cloak sweeping everything in a trail behind you like Pigpen.
It's not that long.
It's like just a 30-foot train. You just
30-foot train is the name of my conductor company.
Yeah.
I didn't have a punchline.
No. Yeah, the end was so sweet with Full House, and I started getting all teary-eyed and stuff. Been so much, like, Friday morning, I was listening to this, and I'm getting all weepy, and then Friday night, there was, like, one scene in the new season of Ultron that made me cry, and then Saturday morning, I was watching DuckTales, and then I was crying again.
Yeah, DuckTales almost made me cry yesterday. Something earlier today made me almost cry. And then this made me almost cry. And I was just like, man, I'm just not well.
Yeah.
Also, I think A Christmas Carol Gone Wrong almost made me cry at one point. Because it did something sad. And I felt really bad for one guy. It was that guy who, in the thing I was showing you, kept on, like, smiling and bowing.
Yeah.
His feelings got hurt really bad and his heart got broken. I was like, how dare you harm this
I had a solid,
boy.
like, 3 consecutive tears at one scene from Voltron. I was like, I haven't cried this much since One Day at a Time Season 2.
Was it related to Shiro?
No.
Was it related
I won't say, because spoilers in case people haven't watched it yet.
Was it related to...
I'll tell you later what it was.
Keith,
Adam.
I forgot his name.
Adam.
It was related to Adam.
It was not.
Got it. I cry every time I watch that Vine too. It's very much.
That's something funny to tell you later, but it's spoiling again.
Oh no!
So. Okay, yeah, that's okay. It was so sad. This kid in Full House is getting all weepy and emotional.
I was
like,
sad.
oh,
I didn't know he was capable of having that many emotions.
Baby Full House.
Baby
Look at me.
boy was crying.
I'm getting all aqua-y in my gesticulations now.
And, man, do you say aqua-y?
Yeah, because I'm holding my chest while thinking about Full House.
No, you have to go like this. I thought you meant like aqua-y in your I was like, is that another word for nostrils? Is he like crying? His nose is running because he's crying because he's upset about Full House, because aqua's another word.
There was something I heard the other day.
All the Kingdom Hearts names translations are really sneaky with like Kairi and Naminé and Shion and stuff, but then you just have Aqua and also Terra, which like neither of those are subtle in any way.
There was something, and it might have been in a Let's Play just like a day or two ago, where someone said they meant to say gesticulating, but they said gestating instead. Maybe it was Bim Bim Bam. And I was like, those are very different words.
I don't know that. Should you explain it to me later?
No, gesticulating means like a motion that you make, like you're pointing at something or waving, and gestating means you have like a baby growing inside of you.
Why not both?
You can do both. This episode was very emotional, and I liked how the theme of it wasn't so much about either one of the things, but it was this general sense of like, in life, we get so consumed with the things going on around us that it's easy to lose sight of the most basic things. And it's the thing came from a chapter in 1 Corinthians that I just read like the day before, so it was great timing. I remember hearing a sermon about it in Alberta that I really liked, and just talking about like, you know, how in our faith it's so easy to lose sight of like the most basic things when we get all caught up in all the other high level falutin things that we're doing or that we may be learning, and we just, you know, forget these important fundamentals and why we're doing them and the impact that we can have without knowing it through what we do or through what God allows us to do. So it was cool. It was nice. And yeah, I liked, even though I saw it coming, it was, you know, I liked the like, oh, it's all mysterious and stuff, and then subverting Full House being all, you know, emotional and stuff, and wasn't a bad thing.
Honestly, I think the other plot actually got me more emotional.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I really liked both of them, and I really appreciate it because I really kin with that sentiment of like, yeah, even if no one's gonna do it, still have to do your best at it, because it's like, you know, whatever you do in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's like that's like the motto of my work ethic that I've taken forever, like that specifically. And so the fact that they like specifically addressed that with the same verse attached to it and stuff, and I was like, yeah, neat.
You're headbanging to them saying those lines.
I was headbanging and dabbing on the bus, and people were just staring a lot.
People were moving seats to get farther away from you.
Yeah.
Some people wanted to get closer to you and thought it was pretty cool, though.
But they were the more concerning ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
I give it a 5 out of 5. I really liked it. It made me emotional. It's really good. Full House, like, good characterization. Also him being like, I spent so much time at work and I didn't get to see my boy. Not my boy, but the boy. It made me emotional.
I'm going to give it a 4.7 out of 5 because Whit and Connollsville.
I don't care.
That's still a very high mark for me, so that's what I'm giving it.
I care enough to think about it like I did think about it after when Ed was talking. But he was there. He was there.
See, the weird thing is, like, even, like, the Washingtons were in the show up to album 50. I'm not sure Whit and Connollsville had been mentioned since album 43 that I can recall off the top of my head right now.
When they've been mentioned in the Best Small Town Contest.
Why? Odyssey wasn't... Why would they mention
Whit and Connollsville? No, but when they've been mentioned... I feel like they would have been mentioned in album 50.
Pretty sure not. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. So, like, they stopped mentioning it in the show basically after Novacom ended, and then they wrapped up stuff with Ed and Fam looking after it. And so the fact that even in the show, like back then when they were still on the show, they didn't talk about it. And then now they're like, hey, let's bring this back. This is still a thing. Okay. So you know what? I was wrong. 11 years. It's probably been more like 14 or 15 years since it's been mentioned. So that was wild. Yeah, it's a good episode. Okay. Should we talk about the next one?
Yes, we should.
Okay, and we'll switch this recording over then right here. So here we are now a day later to talk about episode 853, The Good in People, written by Phil Lawler. Victoria, what happens in this episode?
So Olivia makes some promises that she's going to take the, like...
Drama club?
The drama club, thank you.
Guess who just woke up? Guess who just woke up?
To this place that they've never been able to go before. To, like...
Drama camp thing at the state capitol, yeah.
Yeah. And, so she has to, like, save up money along with Mari and Suzu, who we'll get back to in a minute. And she also had, like, all this money, that she fundraised a long time ago for the church, for, like, an over the sea missions fund. And she's like, hey, I could use that for half of the funding, because we need to pay half before the thing starts. And we don't have anything. And it's like, don't do that. That is illegal. What is wrong with you? And she doesn't. And then they fundraise over half the money because Olivia gets a phone call from this anonymous guy saying, like, if she fundraises half of the money, he'll do a price matching thing. And she's like, oh, it must be Whit, even though that sounds nothing like Whit, and that's definitely not Whit. It's probably Whit. And then she, like, tells that guy once they've registered, and she can't get a hold of him again. And then she's just like, Whit, give me money. And he gives her, like, $28. And then she was like, that's not enough. And she's like, rah, like Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And then she, like, takes the money and runs away. And then she's just like, and Maury's like, you should use the church money. Use the church money. And then she's like, no. And then she uses her college money. The thing I said she should have done. First place, like, right away at the very beginning of the episode, they're just like, oh, we all need $50 each, but none of us have any money. I was like, none of you can scrounge up, like, not even one of you can scrounge up $50. No one's parents would help them.
I know.
Like, with this at all.
Not only that,
I find surprising. And none of you have $50 just in general that you're willing to part with. And Olivia's like, oh yeah, I guess I have my college fund. And I'm like, why didn't you use that? Genius.
Like, okay. I recognize the American dollar is worth a little bit more than $1 at the moment.
You know what they should have done? They should have said, everyone has to give $20 of their own money, and then we fundraise the other $30 for everyone.
Well, apparently no one has any money. Apparently everyone's completely destitute.
No one has any money at all except for Olivia and Odyssey. Olivia and Whit are the only people with money in all of Odyssey, apparently, according to this episode.
So, like, I mean, here's the thing. Not only is it absurd to me that none of them have parents who could, like, pay that fee for their children for this educational thing, or that the school would put in a budget, like $50 per person is not that much for a whole big trip. But they're like, we just need more time. Like, they could literally borrow the money from someone and just pay it back by keep on working after the deadline, and yet they still aren't able to scrounge up $250, which is not a ton of money for a school trip. Like, if you're going on a faraway school trip, each individual person could cost 2 or 3 or 5 times as much as that entire trip for everyone. Like, the money proportions seem very off to me in this. But the fascinating thing about the episode is Suzu and Mori. So,
I love Suzu. But I have some concerns. She's just like, oh yeah, I've totally figured out that Mori's scamming all these people and manipulating them and doing illegal stuff, but I'm not gonna tell anyone about it. And I'm like, doesn't that make you almost as bad as Mori? The fact that you're kind of like, she's not encouraging him doing criminal things, but she's not discouraging it either. And she's like, well, I mean, you did nothing wrong. In fact, like, thanks for helping out and stuff. And I'm like, no.
I'm so intensely fascinated by Suzu and her relationship with her brother.
I like to think that Mori, like, burned down an orphanage when he was little or something.
They were like, oh, we need the money. And I was like, oh, please tell me that Mori is going to start some, like, casual racketeering to raise the money for the club. And then he says to her, he's like, you think we made a mistake making her president? And then first off, I was like, oh, but also I was like, Suzu was in on this. He said, we making her president. And I was like, so Suzu's in on this. She's like riding this thin line between the light and the dark. And I'm so excited for her arc and like her gradual development of, is she gonna eventually like think her brother's going too far and have to betray him? Or is she gonna keep on like riding down this slippery slope of Maury's gray justifications of things?
I just realized that she's the Monica to this arc. And that makes me very happy.
I like the whole church fund thing. Like, it's a legitimate problem. Like she said, she's like, I have this money. I couldn't use it for what it was donated, and I have no way of getting back. And I was like, this is it, Victoria. This is the origin story for how Olivia becomes Clint McElroy, the embezzling janitor. So
you were fired from here a week ago. The best thing about the newest live show was that they mentioned Clint McElroy.
I know. I was so happy.
That made me very happy.
Maury, this is Suzu's second episode only. She was just in the key suspect in this. I thought she was in at least one more episode. And Maury's fourth episode. You know whose Maury's voice really reminds me of? Pikeman from Camp, the leader of the Wood Scouts.
Oh, man, you're right.
That I checked, and they're not the same person. I actually found out Pikeman is Kirk Johnson.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
I didn't realize that.
I remember looking him up after he first came, and I was like, what? Hey, I have a quick question. McElroy, is that, like, only one capital?
No, it's 2 capitals.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was
So,
listening to the new movie of them today, and Griffin was ranting about someone
did the
spelling
new
their
one come
last
out?
name
I didn't
wrong.
see the notification.
And I was just like, if I'm spelling it wrong? But yeah.
So, one of many weird things about this episode to me, this charity guy calls and he's like, hey, I'm part of an organization that's with the school that helps donate matching funds to kids trying to do educational projects. And Olivia's like, this is clearly a scam. This is so weird. And they like look up the website and they're like, looks pretty legit. And she's like, I don't trust it. He's trying to steal her money. I was like, why is she so skeeved out by this charity guy? Like, it's not weird for people to want to remain anonymous. And Whit told her that he was going to put out the message that they needed money, and he has more connections than anyone else on Earth, and he used to be a teacher. It makes 1,000% sense that Whit talked to some guy involved with this organization that donates to people raising funds for school educational stuff. Like, it seemed to me...
Did you figure out that this guy was linked to Maury right away?
Well, I said... What I literally said here, I was like, it should... I was like, I would believe this 1,000% right off the bat. It should all make perfect sense to her, even though it's probably because Maury is holding this guy's kids hostage in his basement.
I didn't think of Maury right away, I don't think.
I mean, to me, it seemed totally believable, except for the fact that I was like, Maury's here, so clearly there's something going on. Clearly he's, like, blackmailing this guy.
No, I definitely thought there was something up. I was just like,
But I wouldn't have, like... If that was normal life, I would have believed him like that, obviously. It makes...
I wouldn't.
What's weird about it, though?
I just don't like phone calls from strangers.
But Whit said he was going to talk to people and ask for money, and this is a guy...
I shouldn't give out my phone number.
So they go around and they ask for money from people. There's one woman who's like, here's a sock full of coins. And I was like, there's only one reason that you fill a sock with coins, and that's to kill or maim someone. So let's just let that percolate in our brain space and then move past it. So the guy, they get the money and they text the form to the guy, Jordan, and he doesn't text back. And I was like, so was it an actual scam then? Because I was like, I can't imagine why that would be a scam. Like, they seem pretty thorough about trying to check it out. So I assume this was a real organization, and then Maury just got this guy to pretend to be from it, because there was like a legit website and stuff. So he probably just didn't belong to the organization. I guess they didn't have proof of that. But like, I was like, what did this random guy stand to gain from it? He didn't get any money. I never would have thought that that guy was a scam if I was in Olivia's shoes.
Maybe that was just a voice Maury can do.
Maybe. He's like, I can do a pretty weird voice over the phone. It's pretty out there. Hi, my name is Jordan Peter. It's like Jenkins in the bow tie.
It's like that Family Matters episode with Urkel where he has like the little dummy and the dummy has no
witch cursed me and put this bow tie on me.
Oh my gosh,
I have to do whatever anybody
so
says if someone says the magic word, and that word is my name, Jenkins. I really like, after Olivia got the money, I was 100% convinced that she took the church money. And I was like, honestly...
I was too, until they, I don't know, like, until a little bit before.
And I was like, honestly, I get why... in theory, it's wrong because you're like, it's fraud. You took this money for one purpose. You're using it for another. But
honestly, again... I don't get why she couldn't keep the money at the church.
Once again, there's, like, nothing stopping her from loaning the money from somewhere and then paying it back later once they have more time, because that was the key element here. They just need more time. And so I guess it is still technically wrong as a general rule for her to have like used the church money and then paid it back later when she got the money back, and then putting that back so that she had it and then could at a later time donate it or whatever she should do with it. But it's not like her intention was actually to like take it and then make up for it later. Like, I don't think it would have been that wrong, really. They made it sound like a terrible thing. I'm like, you could do that and then people pay you back later once they have the money, and then you didn't actually do anything. But I don't know.
Olivia's crying about it, and then someone comes in, they're like, "You mean alone?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah." And then she, like, wipes all the tears off her face and runs off to the bank.
Yeah, her dad's an architect and her mom's a nurse. I'm sure they could...
Her dad is dead. We established that.
Oh, that's true. Her father is now an alien in a skin suit.
He's been taken over by a body snatcher. He has no stake in what happens to her.
But what I was going to say, and I guess this does tie into the end with Maury, is that there's like this impressed upturn I liked in his voice when he was like, "Where will you get the money?" And she's like, "Don't worry about it." And he's like, "Okay." Like, haha, Olivia.
I don't understand what he did with this episode. I think this is just kind of like a general show of how he gets what he wants.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like...
using other people, because I was just like, where do Olivia and Matthew come into this? What's the greater picture thing?
It wasn't like a forward step in his plans. It was just trying to show us more like the kinds of things that he does and stuff. Because it was purely self-serving. It was just because he wanted to go on the trip. And the justification part of it was just to appease Suzu so that she wouldn't be upset with him.
Yeah. I like Maury, like, a lot.
I know.
He's kind of great. I also really hate him, though.
I love him so much. So Olivia, she's like, "Okay, I did it, and I did the right thing, but I'm still gonna... Zoe, you're the president now. I can't do this anymore. I've been morally corrupted by this." And I was like, I would understand, I guess, I would sort of understand Olivia handing the chair over to Zoe in every other situation but this one, because she's like, "You should do it, Zoe. You're more level-headed." Girl, this is for the president of the drama club. The drama club. You have vastly succeeded in, like, the department of generating drama. The only one in the club who could outdo you is Maury, and he's more of, like, the puppeteer kind of guy. So you are the perfect person for this job.
I think it's good to have someone who has a level head if they're going to be high emotions in a group.
Drama club, Victoria. It's in the name.
No, that's not how it works.
It is how it works. So, and then...
I think that Olivia still should have been in charge, because Zoe has so many other things that she's in charge of.
I know, Zoe has so many things.
And I was just like, don't give her another one. She already has like 60 things. Calm down, girl.
That was
and Zoe's just like, good. And I'm just imagining her with like a little Monopoly board. She's like, I can add Park Place to my thing. And she just has like a billion little...
Yeah, she can add so many hotels now, because she's the president of so many things. And then, yeah, we have the final scene with...
Maury's the banker.
Suzu, yeah. Where Suzu's like, "It was you. I know it was you." And then he gives his whole thing where he does this whole... It's funny because, I just finished reading through Romans, and so obviously it has all of Paul's, like, justifications under the law, and, shall we then continue in sin, the good may occur, no, may never be, and all that. But Moore gives all this speech, and it's so good about his, like, justifications and that whole, like, heresy of Judas Iscariot, kind of like, well, if I did these bad things so that it caused other people to do good things, then isn't what I did good too? And Susan's like, I guess so. And I was like, I love Maury so much. I was like,
he's a really good villain. He's the best villain we've had in a long time.
I was totes right about Maury hiding that guy's kids in his basement in order to blackmail him. And yeah, his speech about doing evil to cause others to do good was so great. And I adore this relationship he has with his sister, and this, like, fascinating place that Suzu is in with this. And it's so interesting, and I'm so excited for it.
I still love that Maury's the adopted one, because he's just crazy.
It's like Loki.
That way we don't have to worry about his parents, though. We don't have to be like, oh no, are they crazy too? I mean, they could be, but we don't have to deal with them. Because they adopted Maury.
They looked at a bunch of kids and they're like, we'll take that one.
I guess they're so crazy they adopted him. Yeah.
Or Maury blackmailed them into adopting him. Who knows?
Ooh, even better. Yeah.
He's like what's an example in media of a kid who has, like, his parents wrapped around his fingers, like, comically so. There's
that one
fat
guy
kid
in DuckTales.
That was the only one I could think of, but I know there's more. I know there's
the DuckTales one?
I know there's less obscure ones than DuckTales, but that's all I could think of.
Yeah, that boy in DuckTales who's like, friend present, and I'm like, oh
most
my
most of the kids in Willy Wonka. There's more examples.
Yeah. Part of me wants to say, like, the darling children, or whatever they're called, in Kids Next Door, except for her father still, like, beats them around, so can't say that.
This episode was great. I love Maury and Suzu so much. And, they're so good. And I'm glad that they have stuff apart from just Matthew and Emily back and forth, so we can see them more against other people and see that it's not just like he has this rivalship with them, but in general he's just branching out into this very like casual. I loved how casually he said it to Suzu, who in theory is supposed to be like the better one of the two, at the beginning of the episode, and he was like, you think we made the right choice in making them president? Like, she is fully in as deep as he is. She just doesn't realize it, and I love that.
It's like, we thought Suzu was like on this high moral ground, and it's just like they're on the same ground, but they look at it in different ways.
The way I thought about it at the end, the way it's like Matthew and Emily, these people are like, oh, what's going on? I don't know. And Suzu is the one who pretends to be like fighting for the light, but she is like on this whole other plane looking down on everyone else with Maury. I was like, I don't know a lot about Good Omens, but that's all I could think of that came to mind in that moment. It's like Aziraphale and Crowley looking down. Yeah.
I can't get over David Tennant with red hair still. It, like, every time I see it, I like roll back and I'm like, what is this? I'm excited for it to come out. I was actually thinking about it the other day.
So that's what they made me. That's what they reminded me of in the end.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I know nothing about Az and Crowley still. All I know is roommates in G&D, basically.
Oh, so yeah, this episode was excellent. I was like, well, I guess probably Maury's controlling this guy, but I was still doubtful of it. I was like, it makes sense from like the way they're setting things up, but I don't see why or how that would be a thing. And then it turns out that it was, and then it's set up like this very kind of chilling and intense and fascinating end scene with him and Suzu. And oh,
I forgot. It's pronounced Crowley. I've been pronouncing it wrong forever.
But yeah, whatever.
I found out because there's a character in Seraph of the End whose name is Crowley, and I found that out, and I was like, I thought it was Crowley. But, so, carry on.
Yeah, but you can't trust dub pronunciations.
Oh, that's true. I'm just going to keep on saying Crowley then.
You mean Crowley?
I like Crowley more.
Because I see crow in it, so that's what I see. But I guess ow is also how you can pronounce OW, so whatever. English.
I'm just also bad at pronouncing
How does it work? So
I have to wait until the show comes out. Hear David Tennant say it. Suzu and Maury.
It was good.
It was really good. And like moral predicament makes you think.
Yeah. Unless you've like read the Bible at all, in which case it's like, okay, the answer to this is clearly obvious. But from a purely secular perspective, it's like, you know what, it was like the IPRE when they were on the judge world and they were trying to like talk their way out of the judgment from the giant judges in Stolen Century.
Oh, my favorite line out of all of those things, next to like everything Taco says about his defense, Loop's defense is also really great.
Yep, pretty much nailed that one.
Then we guess, and also this, and they're like, yes. It's funny because when I re-listened to those, I was like, I can't remember what they say, but I just really remember liking what they said. And then Davenport, when he gets the chance to talk, he's like, haven't we earned a little wrath? And I'm like,
aw, small angry boy.
Angry boy.
I'm going to give this episode a 4.8, only because I find it weird, like the whole financial situation of it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me why it was not easier for them to scrounge up or borrow the money.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me a little.
So that was kind of weird.
That's kind of my only problem with the episode.
But that was very good. 4.8. That's my rating.
I'm going to give it 4.5. I really liked it.
Cool. What are we doing next time, Victoria?
Scouts? Scout's Honor. Is that the name of the
Walkworthy.
episode? Walkworthy. That's what I said. It is the August OAC episode of the month.
We're getting on track, Victoria. We're close.
I'm not used to us being on time
with
things. And with it, we're going to review...
You picked it yesterday. A Glass Darkly.
A Glass Darkly.
So that we can just pour the hate train all over Dr. Hawthorne. So yeah, that's what we're doing next time. Until then, thank you for joining us on our side of the YouTube. I've been Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
And thank you for joining us until next time. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, goodbye.
Oh, Devin, we didn't make any Joker's jokes.
Yeah, I know.
No.
I was like, as I'm doing the Mord voice, I was like, I just need to slip this in here under Victoria's radar, and it worked.
No.
Goodbye.